Well. In my opinion, there are 6 capable teams battling it out for 3 wildcard spots in the AFC. I was looking at all 6 teams' schedules earlier and I found it super interesting. So interesting that I decided to make a video. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down these 6 teams: the Ravens, the Patriots, the Raiders, the Colts, the Browns, and the Dolphins. I'm gonna tell you why I think they're good, why I think they're bad, what games I think they're gonna win on their remaining schedule, and then I am going to predict my 3 teams that I think are going to get into the AFC playoffs. But before we get into that, can you please make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel? Tell a friend. I am trying to get this out to as many people as possible. And the more of my content that I could spread, the better. As the AFC wildcard playoff picture currently stands, in the 5 seed are the Cleveland Browns at 8-3. In the 6 seed are the Miami Dolphins at 7-4. And at 7 are the Indianapolis Colts sitting at 7-4. In the hunt, you have Baltimore at 6-5. You have the Raiders at 6-5, and you have the Patriots at 5-6. Now let me just get this out of the way. The Broncos and the Texans are going nowhere this year. I know they're mathematically alive and they're still technically on the in the hunt graph, but based on the talent on both of those teams and their record, I'm gonna just eliminate them now because it is so unlikely that either of them make it. Going worst to first here, the 5-6 New England Patriots. The Pats can afford to lose 1 game at the very most. I see the Patriots going 9-7, losing games to the Los Angeles Rams and to my Buffalo Bills. No matter what you think about Cam Newton and his play, you can't deny that this team has literally 0 offensive weapons on that side of the ball. Mohamed Sanu must have been super washed up to get cut from this squad. In the offensive league that the NFL has become, a team can't afford to have this little offensive firepower, especially with a quarterback who clearly isn't capable of bearing all of the offensive weight on his shoulders. Although it's hard to say if Cam Newton will ever get back to his 2015 MVP form, it's safe to say that he's working with what he has, and that isn't very much. Although I don't think they're going to, if the Patriots somehow squeak into the playoffs, they have to be considered a legitimate threat due to the guy on the sidelines. The Baltimore Ravens are in the hunt at 6-5. They have the Cowboys, the Browns, the Jaguars, Giants, and the Bengals left on their schedule. This schedule is by far the easiest of all of the teams. If they can't go at least 4-1 in their last 5-game stretch, then this team doesn't deserve to make the playoffs. Now, everybody knows about the COVID situation. I don't care if it's RG3 or Chase McSorley. You should be able to whoop the Cowboys' ass. If Lamar Jackson comes back, that's great, but you should beat him anyway. You should beat him with any quarterback. That team sucks. It will be interesting to see how long certain players are going to be out and if this COVID-19 outbreak derails their playoff hopes. The Ravens beat up on the Browns week 1, and I see them doing it again. Honestly, I see this team winning all 5 of their remaining games. Although they appear less dominant than last year's squad, they're going to give any team a headache in the playoffs due to the problems that Lamar Jackson poses to the opposing defense. Don't count them out. Next, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders are sitting at 6-5. Their remaining schedule looks like this. They have the Jets, the Colts, the Chargers, the Dolphins, and the Broncos. Every game on their schedule is winnable. It's just a question of which Raiders team is going to show up. Is it going to be the team that beat Kansas City and played them tough the second time? Or is it going to be the team that got their asses handed to them in Atlanta by the Falcons? They can't afford for Derek Carr to have a bad game. Unfortunately, I don't think this team is as consistent as they need to be to make a big run. I see them losing to both the Colts and the Dolphins and going 9-7 on the year. Now, if they miss the playoffs, who knows what the future for Derek Carr is. I think he's having a decent season. But then again, as a team, they need to be more consistent. He's been their quarterback for a while. Who knows what happens there? Currently sitting in the 7th seed, the 7-4 Indianapolis Colts. The Colts went from division leaders to the 7th seed real quick when Derrick Henry literally knocked them into next week. They have the Texans twice. They have the Raiders. They have the Steelers and the Jaguars. This team has a great defense, and Phillip Rivers is playing way more consistently than I predicted at the beginning of the season. They use a multitude of running backs in the run and pass game, and their coach Frank Reich is a great offensive mind, not to mention one of the best backup quarterbacks of all time. I see this team beating the Raiders and the Jaguars and splitting with the Houston Texans. I know. Give me a second. The division games are usually a lot tighter than expected, and I just feel the Texans are capable of playing up or down to their competition. I also see them losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers, putting them at 10-6 on the year. With Frank Reich's play calling and this defense being an absolute powerhouse, this may be the best wildcard team of the bunch. Oh, what do you know? The Miami Dolphins. All right, so the Miami Dolphins are sitting at 7-4, one game behind the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. Spoiler alert, the Dolphins aren't catching the Bills. Not even close. However, they are going to be battling it out for a wild card spot. These are their remaining opponents: the Cincinnati Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs, the New England Patriots, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Buffalo Bills. All right, I'll admit it. This team is interesting. You don't know what you're going to get out of Ryan Fitzpatrick or Tua for that matter. Their defense has been playing really good, and I dare say that's the reason their record is what it is. That being said, you cannot rely on defensive touchdowns every time you want to beat a good team. I say the defensive touchdowns stop. Lack of scoring on defense combined with the question marks at quarterback finally catching up to them, I say they lose to the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Buffalo Bills, putting them at 9-7. Now, Dolphins fans, before you throw a tizzy, until somebody makes a good case for this team going, I just don't see it. I even looked through my unbiased lenses here. I still don't see it. I say Miami is a 9-7 team. Okay, last but not least on this list, the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are pretty interesting. Yes, I know Odell Beckham Jr. got hurt, but Baker Mayfield is playing decent, and let's face it, all of the AFC North teams are beating up on those NFC East teams. Browns' remaining schedule is the Titans, the Ravens, the Giants, the Jets, and then the Steelers. Baker Mayfield has done a pretty good job working with what he has after the Odell Beckham Jr. injury. Their defense is nothing to write home about, but they do have some players on that side of the ball. I do think, however, that this team drops 3 of their last 5, losing to the Titans, the Ravens, and the Steelers, assuming that Pittsburgh still has something to play for in Week 17. That puts them at 10-6. And although they might not look like much, anything can happen once you're in the tournament. This is going to be Baker Mayfield's time to shine under the bright lights of the playoffs. Here is how I see the playoff picture shaking out. The Baltimore Ravens as the 5 seed, the Cleveland Browns as the 6 seed at 10-6, and the Indianapolis Colts also losing the tiebreaker, sitting at 10-6 in the 7th spot. I have the Pats, the Raiders, and the Dolphins all just missing at 9-7, and yeah, that's about it. If you disagree with me, maybe you even think the Texans or the Broncos have an outside shot at making it, hit me up, let me know. I will 100% respond to you. I want to thank everybody for watching. Hope everybody enjoys their weekend. Go Bills, and peace out.